Do you believe a civilization once dismissed as weak could save an entire galaxy from extinction? When an alien research vessel was dying amid a Class 3 solar storm, only humanity born on the Death World, Earth had the courage to storm into the heart of death to rescue them. And when faced with the star-devouring threat of the Void Eaters, the Death Worlder Alliance survivors forged in hell achieved an unbelievable victory. In the next 30 seconds, I'll take you into the epic battle where adversity becomes the ultimate weapon. Don't look away. Storm over the Dawnlight. Alarms blared shrilly through the corridors of the research vessel Dawnlight as the transparent hull of the rear compartment began to crack under the onslaught of the solar storm. Greenish light, interlaced with streaks of plasma, illuminated the terrified faces of the 15 scientists each, one among the brightest minds of the Galactic Council, struggling to safeguard their data and equipment. Every warning flashed across the control panels was more than a cold statistic. Energy shields, 42%. Radiation, 700 rad-s. Ambient pressure, 180. Cheng-2, normal baseline. They were life or death omens. In the dimly lit command center, emergency lights pulsed crimson. Captain Kale Orieltal and regal, his skin a silvery sheen, stood at the central console, fingers trembling as he initiated the override. His voice, deep and steady despite the tension, cut through the chaos. Activate stasis protocol. All crew, enter hypersleep. Transmit distress beacon. One by one, the lids of the stasis pods slammed shut, releasing clouds of frosty vapor that cocooned them in the only shield capable of resisting the storm's fury. Leaning against the steel railing, Kale O'Reilly's gaze traveled up to the observation viewport. Coils of plasma twisted like cyclones, tearing at the vessel's alloy frame. Pulses of electromagnetic energy swept across the glass, tracing fleeting, glittering patterns on the bridge. Sensors registered radiation levels skyrocketing well beyond any simulation's worst-case scenario, recalling the Grade 5 catastrophe on Rigel Disk 6, when a single merchant convoy had been incinerated in under 3 hours of exposure. He exhaled in a deliberate hiss, teeth clenched as he muttered, "We won't last much longer." With a shaky hand, he keyed in the final distress transmission. "This is Dawnlight, trapped in a Class 3 solar storm. 15 personnel in stasis pods. Request immediate assistance. Standing by." Silence reigned for a heartbeat as the outgoing signal stalled, then morphed into static and echoing white noise until a gravelly, resolute human voice cut through. "Signal received. This is Thunderchild, Earth Defense Fleet. Hold fast reinforcements inbound." Kale O'Reilly froze, incredulous at the uncomplicated directness of the reply. No one in Galactic Council history believed a human warship with its patchwork, chemical thrusters, and rugged steel plating could penetrate a high-intensity plasma storm without being shredded. Yet, on the scanners, Thunderchild loomed like a monolithic slab of battle-scarred iron, its hull crisscrossed with pockmarks and scorch marks, an anachronism beside the Dawnlight's elegant contours. He hit the authorized docking switch. Magnetic clamps engaged, and a rigid transfer tube slammed into place with a shudder that reverberated through both vessels. Sparks danced along the junction as electromagnetic coils surged. Minutes stretched in silent dread until the pressure stabilizers equalized, and the final hatch swung open to reveal the narrow corridor leading into Thunderchild. In half stasis and half consciousness, Kale O'Reilly guided his fellow engineers and scientists through the tube. They staggered at the scent of molten metal and the rush of warm, dry air, a stark contrast to the plasma-charged vacuum outside. Fluorescent lights etched every rivet and conduit. Fuel lines, engine nacelles, thick armor plates, all bearing the raw utilitarian beauty of human military engineering. At the corridor's end, Captain Jack Thompson removed his helmet and offered a measured, reassuring smile. The weathered lines of his face, the piercing blue of his eyes, spoke of unshakable resolve. He gestured them forward. "Welcome aboard the Thunderchild. How are you holding up?" Kale O'Reilly nodded, voice hoarse behind the life support filter. "We have never been He trailed off, searching for words. Through the viewport, the solar tempest still reject a maelstrom of emerald and sapphire fire lashing at the glass. In that moment, he realized survival did not depend on the most advanced technology, but on the raw instinct to endure in the solidarity forged between species. Outside, the storm's darkness still reigned supreme. Inside Thunderchild, however, the steady glow of overhead lights and the warmth of breathable air were a promise. Where courage endures, hope follows. Cale O'Reill met Jack Thompson's Gazethus, steadfast, iron-willed human once dismissed as primitive, and bowed his head in quiet respect. In the boundless expanse of the galaxy, humanity had proven itself more than inhabitants of a death world. They had become saviors, extending a lifeline where none was thought possible. Thus began a new chapter, in which two civilizations once strangers found each other amid a sea of plasma fire. Their alliance kindling a beacon of hope for the entire galaxy. The call of the Galactic Council. 3 months after the Class 3 solar storm at the outer edge of the solar system, reports of the Void Eater's dark entities that consume both energy and matter had reached a crisis breaking point. The Galactic Council's assembly chamber of vast sphere, forged from light-reflecting crystalline alloy, sounded today with unprecedented clamor. On the central holoscreen, data from the 5 most recently struck star systems glowed in ominous red. Lotus Cluster, Vega Prime, Orion's Drift, Sigma Tau, one by one, each system had been wiped clean. No signals remained, no probes or asteroids, only the telltale signature of a dead zone. Alarm bells blared urgently, signaling the highest alert level. Delegates of every species gas-based entities, scaly reptilians, energy-sustained organics, and even crystalline light beings reacted in their own distinctive ways. The gas-borne delegates flickered from gentle azure to blazing scarlet, sending out rapid vibration bursts that conveyed profound alarm. The reptilians, their armored scales slackening, thrashed their double-length tongues within their fluid tanks, bubbles pounding against transparent walls. The energy-based organisms quivered their tendrils, emitting spatial light pulses that registered as level 7 alerts. At the head of the hall, the Council Presidenta, towering crystalline colossus, shimmering in golden hues, wraps the silent gavel, commanding attention. The screen behind him glitches through the latest statistics. The Void Eaters have annihilated their 5th star system in just 4 weeks. Each advance of theirs erases another world from the cosmic map. His resonant voice carries an urgent edge. We are virtually defenseless against a foe we cannot touch, one impervious to conventional arms. All defense grids have been neutralized by their warping fields and invasive radiation. As panic rippled through the chamber, Commander Emma Stone rose deliberately from her Earth-standard pod. Designed to replicate terrestrial atmosphere and gravity, her pod provided a firm 1G footing in the midst of floating delegates who drifted in reduced gravity suspension. The assembly fell utterly silent when she spoke. Esteemed delegates, we face an unprecedented threat, but we are not alone. Light filtering through her pod's viewport cast sharp relief on Emma's determined features. She inhaled deeply, eyes sweeping the assembly. Planet Earth, a world many of you deemed a death world, where crushing atmospheric pressure and unrelenting solar radiation reign, where temperatures swing from cryogenic cold to blistering heat, has proven one thing: adversity does not destroy, it forges resilience. Behind her, the holoscreen shifted to footage of Earth's gleaming cities enduring a solar tempest. Green-blue lightning fractures the upper atmosphere, yet vessels remain on course, crews calmly at work. Data streams flashed. Athena City, on Nova Earth's Mars colony, maintained full operations under a level 5 radiation storm. Research vessel Helios recorded 5 200 rad-s. Synthetic vascular implants aboard crew members showed 0 radiation failures. A reptilian delegate rumbled, scales bristling. You claim Earth has already endured conditions akin to those wrought by the Void Eaters? Emma offered a composed nod. Exactly. What we view as Cry's extreme radiation, crushing pressures, gravitational flux air, everyday environments, or advanced training grounds for humanity. They do not evade hardship, they harness it, turning it into weaponry and motivation. A murmur of astonishment swept the chamber. Curious glimmers replaced doubt in many eyes. The gas-based delegates' hues shifted from crimson to hopeful indigo. The energy organics tendrils quivered in what could only be interpreted as tentative agreement. Emma pressed on. We need their aid, the species raised on a death world they call home. They possess the experience, technology, and fighting spirit none of us have witnessed before. I propose we form an official alliance. Earth will lead a multi-species task force combining tactics and technology to confront the Void Eaters. The Crystal President inclined his form, facets gleaming. A prudent proposal. Prepare full dossiers on human contact protocols and capability assessments. We owe them the opportunity to prove themselves. For a moment, the assembly was hushed, every gaze fixed on Emma Stone. Then, a single clap echoed faint but resolute. Dandelion, the delegate from the stellar wind system, pulsated its tendrils and sent the first signal of consent. Others followed suit in rapid succession. From the ashes of crisis, a rare and historic multi-species alliance was born on that would pit the death worlders of Earth against a universe-devouring scourge in defense of billions of lives across the galaxy. The unexpected alliance. No sooner had the Galactic Council formally approved Commander Emma Stone's proposal than the atmosphere in the assembly chamber shifted from panic to an eager sense of collaboration. The Crystalline Council President initiated a rotational sequence of displays, projecting comparative data on the military and technological capabilities of member civilizations. Among them, Earth's resilience curve shone brightest, a pale blue line soaring well above the others, the clear testament of humanity's capacity to endure extreme environments. In that moment, humankind emerged at the center of a new beacon of hope. The gas-based delegate Dandelion's form rippled as it spoke. If humans can survive plasma storms and intense radiation, they surely hold secrets we have yet to learn. A smattering of applause began, then swelled into a chorus of approval as reptilians, crystalline light beings, and energy-dependent organics nodded their assent. With a final, decisive rap of the gavel, the president declared, "The motion carries unanimously. The Galactic Alliance, led by Earth, is hereby established. Resolution 1164, the Death Warders Pact is ratified." Automated chimes rang out across the chamber, instantly transmitting the resolution to the Thunderchild, where Captain Jack Thompson and Commander Stone were preparing to address the next forum. Emma opened the small data capsule containing the alliance terms, her gaze steady as she turned to Jack and said, "We've been granted not only the chance to aid the Council, but to learn from them. Let's make the most of it." Jack threw back his shoulders, the sturdy silhouette of his Earth-issued armor, accentuating his confidence. "We won't betray any trust placed in us." Their first official diplomatic visit commenced immediately. A delegation of Council representatives boarded the Thunderchild to assess Earth's capabilities firsthand. The Rapid Assembly Technology Liaison Team had configured a simulation chamber replicating Earth's most hostile conditions: artificial plasma tempests, double gravity fields, and crushing pressure atmospheres. When the chamber doors slid open, human personnel emerged, clad in hybrid protective suits innovations born of collaboration between Dr. James Wilson and Council engineers. Skepticism on the delegates' faces melted into astonishment as they ventured into the swirling plasma storm without hesitation. They watched Jack Thompson manipulate the personal shield generator on his suit, fine-tuning his localized force field to maintain balance amid torrents of charged particles. Subsequent briefings focused on tactical exchange. Emma introduced the Death World Combat Academy training protocol. "We don't avoid hostile conditions. We use them to cultivate guerrilla tactics, enhance endurance, and weaponize the environment." Holoslides displayed off-world trainees sprinting across Sahara-like dunes, scaling peaks akin to the Himalayas. and navigating hyper-pressurized water currents that simulated a Mediterranean storm at sea. Several delegates scribbled meticulous notes, while others exchanged doubtful glances. Virax, the reptilian envoy, hissed, "We have always evaded high-pressure zones with dynamic force fields. Why abandon that advantage?" Emma responded calmly, "Force fields offer immediate relief, but when your power reserves deplete, you're left vulnerable. Earth has taught us how to adapt without dependence on field show, to engineer bodies and technologies that withstand pressure naturally." Virax's gaze flicked to Dr. Wilson, who beamed proudly. "Soon, you will witness our hybrid shell material blending deep-sea mollusk biostructures with crystalline alloys that endures twice the pressure any single technology could." Trust began to solidify as alien delegates each endured the gauntlet of survival trials across desert heat, sub-zero ice fields, and electromagnetic storms. They discovered that the self-repair systems embedded in the suits, coupled with the crew's synthetic vascular implants, enabled instantaneous mending of suit breaches rather than requiring return to the Thunderchild repair bay. When a gas-based delegate slipped and cracked a small fissure in her viewport, microfluidic sealant flooded and resolidified the crack within 2 seconds, preserving her safety. The formal inauguration of the Joint Technology Accord coincided with the Galactic Belt Festival. The crystalline delegate carried the iridescent Unity Gem to the dual-chambered treaty dais, where Earth's standard-bearer and the Council President affixed their signatures to the Survival Covenant. Emma and the President pressed the activation nodes in unison, unleashing a multi-dimensional broadcast across the galaxy. Henceforth, Deathworlder technology and Council innovations will co-develop from starship design to personal armor, from medical systems to combat strategies. Amidst the jubilant cheers of hundreds of delegates, Jack Thompson raised his hand in greeting. "We do not come to assert dominance. We come to share our experience and to learn from you. Together, we will survive and triumph over the Void Eaters." His words resonated through the Grand Hall, weaving together human resolve and council hope into a harmonious chord of unity. Two civilizations, one that had once relied on evasion tactics, the other tempered by trial found common ground in their shared determination to safeguard life. The unexpected alliance was founded not on sheer firepower, but on mutual understanding. Each side grasping the value of the other's strengths, willing to sacrifice, and believing that only through collaboration could they confront the most savage enemy the galaxy had ever known. And so, as the specter of the Void Eaters loomed, the Deathwarders set forth armed, with conviction that no cosmic crucible could extinguish an unbreakable spirit. Deathworld Combat Academy. Immediately after the Survival Covenant was signed, the Deathworld Combat Academy officially opened on an artificial microplanet orbiting Earth. Though nestled in the starless void, its interior corridors bathed in warm, white, light-toffered alien trainees, their first sensation of real safety from the harsh environments they'd long studied. The facility contains 5 specialized training zones, each simulating a signature Earth environment where humanity honed body and will: the scorching desert, the frozen peak, the plasma storm fields, the high-pressure ocean, and the toxic jungle. Colonel Tom Anderson, a former Earth Marine officer now in charge of military training, stood before a detailed 3D map of the complex. Clad in a hybrid tactical suit carbon fiber weave, reinforced with ultra-heat resistant alloy, he addressed the assembled trainees through the PA system. "Welcome to the Deathworld Combat Academy. Here, we do not flee adversity. We march into it and make it our advantage." Today's first training module, the Incinerating Desert. Representatives of every species emerald-scaled reptilians, drifting gas life forms, bioluminescent organics, and silver crystal sentience lined up behind a safety threshold. At Colonel Anderson's signal, a massive steel door folded open, revealing an artificial desert of white sand heated to 70 degrees Celsius and whipped by electrostatic dust storms that tingled the skin. The moment their boots hit the sand, pressure adjustments caused reptilian scales to curl and gas-life tendrils to tremble as if electrified. Colonel Anderson grinned and barked, "Keep moving, don't stop." Fear briefly gripped many trainees. Reptilian envoy Vrock hesitated to step forward until Tom's voice thundered, "No retreat. There is no room for backpedaling here." With a hiss, Vrock forced himself onward, sweat beating across his scales. At 10 seconds in, his suit's prototype cooling system combining earthly liquid nitrogen radiators with alien mineral conduits sprayed a fine foam that instantly enveloped his shell. He exhaled in relief and staggered to the first waypoint, where Colonel Anderson waited with an electrolytic hydration pack. After a 5-minute recovery in the thermal chamber, trainees were ushered into the frozen peak zone. A 20-meter wall of ice dominated the arena. The air chilled to minus 60 degrees Celsius, and artificial winds hurled shards of ice. Gas life specimens shuddered as their containment pods vented plumes of vapor. Colonel Anderson handed out vials of bio-warming serum. "Drink this. It triggers human-based thermoregulation, what we call cold heat augmentation." Hands shaking, they drained the serum. Within moments, their internal glow shifted from cool blue to warm amber, a sign of successful biochemical adaptation. Emboldened, they scaled the slick ice face, each foothold slipping yet holding firm. Curiosity gave way to determination. That afternoon, they faced the plasma storm fields, the most grueling test. Artificial plasma columns arced violet-blue sparks under a simulated night sky. Sensors measuring 2,800 rad-s of radiation in a vacuum environment. Bioluminescent organics recoiled, but Colonel Anderson coached them, "Breathe deeply, relax. Humanity has endured solar storms for centuries. Every major city on Earth has faced such fury." He activated minimal force field shielding, allowing trainees to experience moderate radiation levels. Shaking, they advanced through the arcs. Their carbon fiber alloy suits reflected, absorbed, and diffused the energy. Reptilian eyes widened. The armor not only resisted the radiation, but converted it into warmth. Next, the high-pressure ocean zone awaited in the Academy's lower levels of fluid tank, pressurized 50 times deeper than Earth's abyssal trenches. Clad in experimental diving suits, trainees swam through a submerged tunnel as pressure climbed by the meter. Watching from the control room, Colonel Anderson advised, "Loosen your shoulders, control your breathing." Many of Earth's deep-sea creatures survive by reinforcing their skeletal fibers and vascular systems. Our tech is inspired by that. They plunge deeper, voices echoing in their helmets. At the 30-meter mark, suits automatically reconfigured their nanofiber frames, maintaining habitat integrity without hull deformation. Emerging triumphant, each face glistened, whether from sweat or seawater. Finally, the toxic jungle zone simulated acidic downpours and microbial poisons beneath an eerie green canopy. Colonel Anderson tossed smoke grenades that released detoxifying enzyme. This is dermal toxin absorption, part acid, part enzyme, combined with engineered microbiota. Reptilians pressed their scales against foliage, jolts of sting racing across their bodies. Then sensor alerts confirmed rapid neutralization. They sprinted through the jungle, evading robotic fauna that sprayed venom, and emerged unscathed. As the day ended, trainees gathered in the Central Plaza Radiation Shield Alloy Circle. Colonel Anderson raised a fist. "You have survived desert heat, sub-zero cold, plasma storms, deep-sea pressure, and jungle toxins. This is only the beginning. When the Void Eaters arrive, they will unleash all of these and worse. But you, Death Worlder Shav, turned death traps into training grounds. Remember, adversity does not defeat us. It forges us." Under the warm glow of the lights, the trainees exchanged determined smiles. Every bead of sweat, every plasma scar, every pressurized challenge, and every brush with toxins had tempered them into a force beyond any enemy's reckoning. In each warrior's heart burned the readiness to wield the Death Worlder's strength in the historic battle against the Void Eaters. The Battle of Proxima Centauri. The Allied armada of Death Worlders and Galactic Council warships cut through the inky void toward the Proxima Centauri sector, where the Void Eaters had summoned a paradoxical plasma storm rife with gravity waves bending starlight. At the vanguard, Earth's fleet anchored by the Fury-class heavy battle cruisers and the command flagship Thunderchild blazed ahead on hybrid drives that married alien jump drive technology with human chemical rockets. Supporting them, the Council's crystal vessels, their hulls endowed with self-healing membranes, emitted a prismatic glow that pierced the darkness. Suddenly, alarms rang out across every command bridge as plasma tendrils pulsed on long-range sensors. Major Lisa Cooper, spearhead commander of the assault group, bellowed into her comm. "First wave, clear the path. Alpha and Beta vectors, commence fire." Simultaneously, aboard the Thunderchild, Chief Pilot Alexei Ruiz slammed the throttle. "Plasma storm closing fast." We split in two. Alpha drives straight into the storm's eye. Beta arcs around the plasma rainbow to flank and bait the enemy. A chorus of determined acknowledgements crackled in return. Under Cooper's command, Earth's vessels punched through the plasma curtain. Their adaptive armor plates refracted and absorbed the storm's energy, converting incoming strikes into reserve power. All around, ionized arcs danced across the holes like phosphorescent lightning. In contrast, the Council's crystal ships, though, shielded by potent energy, field-squaked under the assault. Many fractured, sending shards of crystalline hull adrift in zero-G. One flagship shattered spectacularly, exploding in a kaleidoscope of luminescent fragments. In response, Earth deployed its Swarm Fighters autonomous drone interceptors that swarmed through the plasma winds like a furious hive of hornets. Each drone unleashed high-intensity pulse beams that sliced mobile plasma entities into harmless motes, coordinated via neural link between Earth's chem engine pilots and the Council's energy matrix engineers. The swarm maintained perfect formation, hammering away at the living storm with ruthless precision. Amid the chaos, wing element pilots hugged the Thunderchild's energy shield, extending infrared arrays and static field jammers. They ejected swarms of nanosensor pods that map both radiation gradients and plasma topology in real time. By integrating human rocket cooling cycles with Council sensor suites, they reconstructed the Void Eater's living plasma lattice virtually, performing a dissection of the storm's dark heart without leaving their cockpits. For 3 relentless hours, space transformed into a cataclysmic light show. Allied vessels maneuvered in perfect synchrony, unleashing chain shockwaves capable of destabilizing the storm's binding fields. From the central observation balcony, Admiral Robert Hayes observed through a crystal telescope, "Red alert! Push all engines to 120% breakthrough now." The roar of chemical boosters harmonized fleet-wide as every ship surged forward. In the climax of the engagement, the plasma coils constricted in a deadly pincer's roll. At Cooper's signal, Deathworlders activated the artificial gravity channel tactic engineered by Dr. James Wilson and Dr. Ark Maluna. By momentarily generating a gravity inversion pulse, they strained the plasma bonds beyond their threshold, causing the storm's matrix to unravel. In that critical instant, the massive black energy column splintered into dozens of discrete filaments and collapsed under its own pressure. Jubilation erupted over all comm channels, triumphant cheers, intermingled with static crackles. Even stunned Council commanders rushed to exploit the breach, rerouting reinforcements and dispatching mobile repair stations into the freshly liberated zone. As the plasma haze dissipated, Proxima Centauri's stellar field reappeared, its distant suns glimmering with serene light. The fleet formed up around a temporary service station, where engineers swapped damaged armor plates, reloaded nuclear fuel canisters, and restored primary conduits. Major Cooper allowed herself a rare smile. "We've done it. No known life form has ever weathered such a plasma maelstrom and lived to tell the tale." Yet the real victory lay not only in reclaimed space, but in the troves of battle data harvested. Scientists immediately set to work synthesizing a new generation of self-healing armor, drawing on the synergy between biological, structural frameworks and synthetic vascular networks. The Council's Crystal Fleet, now reinforced with these breakthroughs, prepared to press deeper into the darkness, ready to scout, recover, and shield vulnerable convoys. The Battle of Proxima Centauri would be forever memorialized as the first great victory against the Void Eaters. It demonstrated that the fusion of Deathworlders' indomitable survival instincts with advanced hybrid technology could overcome an enemy once deemed invincible. Across the galaxy, this triumph ignited fresh hope and extended an open invitation for other civilizations to join the alliance against the all-devouring Void. In the aftermath, as Council scientists, Earth commanders, and technical officers gathered in the orbiting command citadel, they shared a sober realization. This cinematic victory was merely the first act of a far larger saga. The Void Eaters still lurked beyond every star cluster, threatening all systems with oblivion. Yet now, emboldened by the tenacity born on a death world called Earth, the United Fleet stood ready and daunted by cosmic adversity, united by shared purpose, and prepared to face even the darkest storms the universe could unleash. Hybrid science, bioengineering, technology. Immediately after the victory at Proxima Centauri, the Allied Research Station was established on Titan, Saturn's vast moon. Amid frigid terrain and a harsh orange-hazed atmosphere, a towering glass spire rose from the black ice. The Center for Bioengineering and Hybrid Technology, where Dr. James Wilson and a team of Galactic Council scientists collaborated in secret to unlock the Deathworlders' resilience. Upon entering the grand atrium, visitors were struck by the sinuous streams of emerald light coursing through bioconduits, continuously circulating synthetic cellular fluid. Overhead, arrays of nanoscale tubing wove human microfabrication techniques together with solid crystalline alloys harvested from alien worlds. The scent of antiseptic and pure metal mingletta, sterile yet thrilling perfume that set hearts racing with anticipation of discovery. Dr. Wilson, his weathered face and bloodshot eyes, bearing witness to countless sleepless nights, stood before a massive data display. He tapped a holographic graph and raised an eyebrow. When human epithelial cells are exposed to radiation modeled on Void Eater energy, they don't die. Instead, they trigger a surge in DNA repair enzyme production. This is in stark contrast to alien cells, which freeze or fragment instantly upon irradiation. A contingent of crystalline researchers stood silently, their gem-like bodies shifting color in time with the spectral analysis. Nearby, a gas lifeform bioengineer linked two automatic injectors, pumping clone cell cultures into a microanalysis chamber. The soft hum of processors filled the room, each calculation unfolding like a note in a symphony of technology. In the radiation impact simulation lab, paired sample tubes displayed human cells alongside council specimens. Under a simulated Void Eater plasma ray, the alien sample cracked and disintegrated within 0.2 seconds, while the human cells deformed briefly, then fully recovered their structure in just 12 seconds. Applause broke out among the onlookers. Yet the crowning achievement emerged in the Hybrid Materials Development Wing. There, Council Engineer Dr. Ark Maluna and Dr. Wilson compared three alloys: pure crystalline metal, humanity's carbon-tungsten composite, and a newly engineered hybrid blend. They placed test plates inside a chamber that subjected them to extreme pressure and Void Eater-style plasma fields simultaneously. On the display, the crystalline alloy fractured, shards glowing as they scattered. The carbon-tungsten alloy melted into molten beads. Alone, the hybrid material shifted its nanolaticites bonds, realigning to form a temporary protective matrix that absorbed and dispersed energy. Remarkably, the alloy emerged not only intact, but with increased hardness, echoing the reinforced exoskeleton of Earth's deepest sea lobsters. Moved by these breakthroughs, the crystalline representative declared, "We have fashioned armor that self-repairs and adapts to the universe's most hostile environments. This is the core of the Deathworlders' strategic edge." In the adjacent biochemical analysis lab, researchers examined post-battle serums. They identified a human protein that accelerates tissue repair and combined it with an alien regenerative factor to create a compound that doubles interspecies healing rates. Dr. Wilson eagerly noted on his datapad, "By adding this compound to our treatment regimen, Our combat units could endure level 5 radiation and pressures 100 times base Lenino force fields needed. An Allied medical team immediately initiated trials on invertebrate test subjects. Over 3 weeks, these creatures adapted astonishingly, developing hardened exoskeletons capable of withstanding 200 to 4C thermal exposure and radiation doses 10-fold safety thresholds. Next, Dr. Wilson and Dr. Maluna unveiled their first prototype of hybrid protective suits. These combined a self-repairing nanocore, carbon steel ripstop fabric, thin crystalline radiation shields, and a biofluid circulation system inspired by human vascular mechanics. During live demonstration, the suit underwent a simulated Void Eater environment, distorted gravity, swirling plasma, and extreme radiation. A small tear at the shoulder seam instantly sealed itself through biologically driven contraction. The research team burst into applause, joined by Council scientists and Earth officers alike. Looking out from the observation window toward Proxima Centauri's distant glow, Dr. Wilson allowed himself a satisfied smile. We've not only learned from humanity, but leveraged their experience to forge technologies heretofore unimaginable. As the war continues, these suits, materials, and therapies will be our keys to penetrating the Void Eater's darkest layers. A briefing room stood ready nearby for a high-level update. Commander Emma Stone and Admiral Robert Hayes took their seats, determination burning in their eyes. Emma began, "Now, armed with hybrid technologies, we can strike Void Eaters at their most vulnerable points. Humanity has already proven they can triumph over adversity on Earth. Together, we'll transform adversity itself into a weapon." Admiral Hayes nodded. This war isn't just about destroying the enemy, it's about using their own environment against them. As scientists departed the briefing, a palpable energy swept through the hybrid center. Prototype materials, biochemical compounds, and protective suits were rushed to the Death World Combat Academy for training pilots and ground forces. Engineers mobilized production facilities on multiple Allied worlds to mass manufacture the hybrid gear. Titan Station itself seemed to awaken from its icy slumber. From plasma storm chambers to cutting-edge labs, from self-healing armor to super-regenerative therapies, the Deathworlders Alliance had turned science fiction into reality. Beneath the center's shimmering emerald lights, they understood that by fusing human ingenuity with alien technology, their greatest weapon would be the ability to adapt and self-heal a force the Void Eaters had never anticipated. And with that power in hand, the Alliance stepped confidently toward the final stronghold of the Void Eaters, determined to prove that no darkness, no matter how absolute, could withstand the unbreakable spirit of the Deathworlders. The final showdown at the Void Eaters' lair, 1 year after the Battle of Proxima Centauri, the Allied fleet assembled at the edge of the Dead Zone, the spawning ground of the Void Eaters. The surrounding space trembled with strange pressure waves, and starlight bent into dark, inky streaks. From the flagship Terra Fury, Admiral Robert Hayes watched the holo display, a three-dimensional map depicting the vortex of nothingness that led into the enemy's subterranean nest. He tapped the command console and spoke in a low, resolute tone. "Is every unit prepared? This is the moment we stake the fate of the galaxy." The Assault Formation 5, 0 Earth vessels, and 2 0 Council Crystal ships divided into 3 waves. Wave 1 to clear the path, Wave 2 to breach the core, and Wave 3 to annihilate and withdraw. Earth's Fury-class ships, outfitted with self-healing hybrid armor and hyperdrive chemical rocket engines, could withstand pressures 20 times normal. The Council's Crystal Striders, though engineered for evasion, now relied on human-enhanced tech to endure intense radiation and gravitational fluctuations. As the formation plunged into the dead zone, the plasma storm roared like a grand electric discharge. Gravity wells tightened unpredictably, compressing any ship caught unprepared. Several crystal hulls cracked, their emergency repair modules activating with flickering light. Sections of space alternated between 0G freefall and sudden high-G surges, forcing each vessel to continuously recalibrate its inertial frame. A crackling broadcast commanded, Wave 1, scan the environment, disperse the plasma, storm open the corridor for Wave 2. Hundreds of Earth's swarm fighters darted forward, deploying graviton emitter secrets retrieved from Titan's archive that warped local plasma fields, carving out pockets of calm for the heavy Fury cruisers to surge ahead. Each graviton wave collided with the storm's plasma, scattering and weakening its cohesive bonds. The readouts showed pressure swings from 0.2 to 15 giga-atmospheres, but the Alliance's biomimetic stabilization systems modeled on human circulatory dynamics kept every ship intact. Admiral Hayes peered through the observation viewport, the dead zone twisting like a miniature black hole before him. Outside, the experimental frigate Earth Shockwave, reinforced with synthetic vascular networks, endured level 7 radiation for 6 relentless minutes as it swept dense plasma arcs clear. When Shockwave activated its graviton beacon, the surrounding plasma instantly recoiled, revealing an opening deeper into the void. Alarms sounded, signaling the deployment of boarding teams. Boarding teams deploy? Hundreds of drop shuttles streamed from the Fury's hangars, each carrying 5 soldiers clad in Death World hybrid combat suits. These suits combined self-repairing alloys with integrated biofluid circulators that regulated temperature and radiation exposure. Before launch, Colonel Tom Anderson issued final orders. Down there, you'll face swirling gravity storms, intense radiation, and plasma barrages. Engage full lock integrity mode, then follow the AI markers to the photonic core. The shuttles hurtled into the maelstrom, buffeted like weightless projectiles. At 500 meters out, each vessel automatically clung to expanding and contracting plasma filaments, using compression bursts as makeshift thrust. The Marines activated infrared microscanners, pinpointing the faintly glowing photonic core where the Void Eaters concentrated their life force. Meanwhile, the overlying fleet maintained a steady plasma pressure buffer to prevent the storm from reigniting. Admiral Hayes monitored the telemetry. Plasma conduit network pressure is down 40% in 120 seconds. Wave Twopris, the assault. Wave 2 responded with a barrage of graviton pulses and Fury supercannon shockwaves directed at the storm's heart. The unrelenting onslaught caused the plasma to resonate violently. The shipboard AI announced, Photonic core detected. Void Eater quanta field expanding. The boarding shuttles descended toward the core's plasma-scarred perimeter. At 200 meters, they deployed spectral analyzers to map the core's structure. Sergeant Mei Lee, leading one strike squad, reported, the core behaves like a superconducting plasma lattice. AI suggests deploying inverse frequency disruptors around it to collapse the containment field. Under command, the squads positioned miniature disruptor nodes around the core's coordinates. These devices emitted counterphase waves, destabilizing the plasma matrix. The display pulsated with seismic readings as the core's field wavered, its crystalline glow trembling like a fracturing gem. At that critical juncture, the entire fleet roared. All ships fire at will, full synchronization. Gravity projector arrays and nuclear laser batteries across the fleet unleashed a combined volley into the now fragile core. Brilliant white conflagrations erupted, consuming thousands of meters of plasma in a single, cataclysmic blow. The shockwave ripped apart the storm, leaving hinterlands of smoldering energy debris. As the dust cloud of ionized particles dissipated, the dead zone calmed to absolute silence. Proxima Centauri's distant starlight pierced the void once more, unimpeded. The fleet backed away to a safe perimeter, monitoring the final core readings. Photonic core inactive. Void Eater energy synthesis offline. Cheers of triumph flooded every channel. Admiral Hayes' voice trembled with relief. We did it! The Void Eaters have been eradicated from their last stronghold. Below, the boarding teams regrouped, eyes alight with hope. Sergeant Mei Lee transmitted back, all clear in the caverns, preparing for return. Hayes keyed his comm. Boarding teams RTB, the Council on Earth have proven that, by harnessing the Death Worlder spirit, no challenge is unconquerable. With this resounding victory, the Death Worlder Alliance closed the dark era of the Void Eaters. The final battle at their lair became legenda testament engraved in the memory of every species. Only by confronting and wielding adversity itself could they overcome the ultimate trial. Earth, the universal training ground. 1 year after the cataclysmic battle in the Void Eater's lair, Earth had shed its isolationist past. Its skies gleamed more vividly, oceans teemed with renewed life, and now the planet stood as the sanctuary of survival for every species in the galaxy. From orbit, hundreds of Galactic Council warships drifted in Earth's exosphere, deploying officers and engineers to training installations that spanned all 5 continents. Each biome and climate zone became a living classroom, forging adaptability and combat prowess in beings from across the stars. 1. Negev Desert, the tropical fortress. In the heart of the parched Negev, a diversionary training complex known as the Tropical Fortress replicated searing 50°4, sea heat, swirling sandstorms, and bursts of simulated plasma. Reptilians, gas forms, and energy-based organics donned multi-purpose survival monitors and strode beneath the scorching sun to learn how to harvest solar energy through armored skin panels and sensory conduits. Former Lieutenant Colonel Tom Anderson himself, once an Earth Marine, repeated his mantra, "Heat is not something to evade." Learn to capture and convert solar radiation with your armor surface or your biosensors into a temporary power reserve. The exercise culminated in each team erecting an improvised solar relay station at the desert's core and gathering enough energy to signal their transport home. 2. Amazon Rainforest, the Vitality Hunt. Deep in Brazil's verdant jungle, the Survival Academy shifted focus to Vitality Hunt operations. The region's native, flora laced with toxic spores and rapid decomposition, enzyme swaths, recreated by the Living Prairie Robotics Network. Trainees were tasked with collecting microbial specimens, analyzing toxicity levels, and synthesizing instant antidotes using hybrid enzyme therapies. Their objective: locate a rare medicinal plant within the toxin-laden canopy, distill its active compounds, and formulate life-saving serums. 3. Himalayan Heights, the icy horizon. Earth's loftiest peaks offered the ultimate cold weather crucible. At the Icy Horizon Simulator, altitude was dialed to 80 meters, temperatures plunged to 40°4 C, and atmospheric pressure dropped by 30%. Trainees floated in a reduced pressure chamber to practice breath control techniques that prevent pulmonary edema and tissue damage. Lieutenant Sora, gas-based officer experiencing low pressure for the first time, trembled uncontrollably until her custom suit adjusted its internal pressure autonomously, thanks to Earth's biovascular technology. Sergeant Wilson, a pioneering Earth biomed specialist, emphasized, "Low pressure isn't the enemy. Our circulatory system evolved to maintain oxygenation through reinforced enzymes that strengthen red blood cells." 4. Mariana Trench Depths, the Abyssal Gauntlet. In the Indian Ocean, the undersea training zone recreated pressures 100 times greater than surface sea level. Here, reptilian trainees in abyssal suits, a fusion of human deep-sea diving gear and crystalline alien alloys, navigated a submerged pressure tunnel. They practiced undersea sprinting by anchoring to adjustable gravimetric anchors installed along the tunnel walls. The final challenge: haul a 2-ton fossilized gemstone block through the pressurized depths, simulating the movement of critical equipment under crushing force. 5. Yellowstone Valley, the Inverted Life Zone. At Inverted Life Zone, Earth's volcanic heart was reborn on land. Simulations blasted 70°4, sea heat and sulfurous toxic fumes beneath a sky of emerald smoke. Trainees utilized independent filtration rigs and toxin-neutralizing armor to transform the environment into a weapon. Their mission? Deploy atmospheric sampling conduits, process samples through enzyme and plasma-based purification chambers, and release purified air into the valley. Colonel Lisa Cooper Sr., tactical instructor, reminded them, "Toxic terrain isn't for avoidance, but for mastering neutralization. When Void Eaters launch radiative plasma storms, we will convert that radiation into safe, usable heat." Beyond these specialized zones, a network of medical facilities such as the Regeneration Institute and the Hybrid Research Laboratory collected biomechanical feedback and monitored individual physiological responses. Bioengineer Ark Maluna explained to visiting council delegations, "Every trainee undergoes cardiovascular, respiratory, and genomic assessments upon exit. Any temporary genetic modifications are recalibrated to ensure no lasting harm. Cross-species tactical drills. Interwoven with the environmental training, joint drills tested combined arm strategies under Death World terrain scenarios. Mixed squads of Earth soldiers and Council warriors mapped terrain with laser tag beacons, employed acid smoke concealment, and used natural obstacles cliffs, sinkholes, and Kazimsto simulate high-stakes incursions. After each exercise, commanders debriefed on leadership agility, unit cohesion, and the limitless endurance that defines Deathworlder descendants." The Galactic Arena Finale. At the end of each training cycle, the Celestial Field Stadium, an immense amphitheater carved into Nevada's desert, hosted the planetary pilgrimage ceremony. Trainees presented holographic recaps of their survival feats: desert endurance, jungle forays, icy ascents, trench dives, and volcanic contamination runs. As crowds of council dignitaries cheered, each survivor received the Hero of Survival medal from the council president's crystalline envoy. In his closing address, the president proclaimed, "Never before has such a harsh world become a beacon of hope and strength. Humanity has shown us how to transcend survival's limits, merging technology and instinct to conquer the unconquerable." Standing proudly beside him, Commander Emma Stone added, "Though the Void Eaters may regenerate from stray plasma shards, our alliance is now fortified not just on battlefields, but at the very core of a planet that once seemed deathbound. Earth has transformed from forbidden death world into the universal training ground, where every life form learns to turn adversity into strength and face any challenge that lies ahead." With that, Earth stood ready, its continents, climates, and citizens unified in purpose to confront whatever cosmic trials the galaxy would yet unveil. The legacy of the Deathworlders. 1 year after the final eradication of the Void Eaters, the Galactic Council officially relocated its headquarters to Orbital Station Omega, positioned directly above Earth's atmosphere. The station itself embodied a dual-domain design. One half maintained the Council's customary low-gravity, filtered atmosphere environment. The other half replicated Earth's mild 1G gravity and balanced air mix. As any visitor passed through the door of consensus, they could feel the symbolic power of Earth itself. Once feared as the ultimate death world, it had become a beacon of hope and the nexus of cosmic unity. At the grand opening ceremony of Omega Station, the Crystalline Council President ascended the dais, clutching the famed Unity Gem, its prismatic facets shimmering under the uplights. In a resonant voice that echoed across the assembly, he declared, "Today, we do more than celebrate our victory over the Void Eaters. We honor the strength that Earth, a once-feared crucible of survival, has bestowed upon us. Through their resilience, we have learned to transform adversity into our advantage. Now, together, we will chart new frontiers across the universe." Commander Emma Stone then stepped forward, her smile lighting up the chamber. Her voice carried warmth and conviction. "When I first proposed enlisting humanity, many doubted us. No species had ever thrived under harsher conditions than those found on Earth. Yet they taught us that darkness cannot conquer those who have mastered the art of illumination." Thunderous applause reverberated through the hall. Gas-based delegates shifted to hopeful aquamarine hues. Light beings flared in kaleidoscopic bursts of celebration. Even the stoic reptilians and energy organics, who had once eyed the humans with caution, now cheered enthusiastically. As the applause tapered, Senator Azuroth, esteemed organic gas representative, presented the Deathworlders' Legacy Declaration to the Assembly. Open technology sharing. All hybrid research and development born of the Earth Council partnership will be made openly accessible. No patents or exclusivity will hinder the spread of life-saving innovations. Continuous training. The Earth Universal Training Center shall remain open year-round, inviting every sentient species to learn, adapt, and prepare for whatever challenges may arise. Future collaboration. The newly formed Intergalactic Survival Committee will oversee joint preparedness initiatives for any existential threats the galaxy may face. From the station's communications array, emissaries from over 200 civilizations departed with these sacred commitments in hand. Across every solar system, Omega Station beamed the message. Earthons, the feared death world now stands as the everlasting beacon of hope. Back on the planetary surface, training facilities and hybrid material manufacturing complexes operated around the clock. In New York City's skyline, a new landmark gleamed. The Alliance Tactical Tower, a skyscraper sheathed in self-repairing alloy. At its base stood a monument honoring the 5 champions whose valor had changed the course of history. Captain Jack Thompson, Commander Emma Stone, Colonel Tom Anderson, Major Lisa Cooper, and Dr. James Wilson. Each statue portrayed them in a stance of unyielding resolve, symbolizing the indomitable spirit of the Death Worlders. At the Earth Regeneration Institute, scientists continued refining the hybrid cell therapy protocols, extending applications from spacecraft hull linings and EVA suits to full-scale planetary bioshelter medical systems. Bioengineer Dr. Ark Maluna unveiled the latest breakthrough. Our active regeneration treatment now restores tissue damage sustained under level 8 radiation 50 times the Council's standard safety threshold. This paves the way for long-term habitation and resource extraction in supernova remnants and other extreme stellar environments. Meanwhile, at the Death World Combat Academy, veterans from the inaugural officer cohort had transitioned into instructors. Instructors taught not only advanced survival tactics, but the underlying philosophy: harsh climates, relentless radiation, crushing pressure. Every trial is a lesson in survival. Those who master these lessons become the authors of a new history. On Allied Moon 3, the hybrid suit production lines ran continuously, robotic assemblers weaving bioengineered fiber into each Death World combat suit. The latest model incorporated an AI-driven diagnostic suite capable of detecting incoming plasma bursts or gravitational anomalies, automatically fortifying armor plating and injecting anti-radiation compounds through microfluidic veins. High above, in the penthouse-level conference hall of Omega Station, the first Intergalactic Technical Congress convened to launch Project Survival Highway Expansion. Delegates ratified plans to establish a network of training outposts on worlds once deemed uninhabitable: Titan's frozen wastelands, Io's molten sulfur fields, Proxima B's plasma, storm sand beyond. Every delegate agreed. Only those forged on a death world possessed the expertise to design and operate such a system. In the hushed grandeur of the chamber, Emma Stone accepted the Key of the Stars, a golden crystal artifact symbolizing the power to unlock survival in any environment. Her acceptance speech was brief and profound. Our victory over the Void Eaters was but the beginning. The vast expanse of space awaits our inspiration. We are Death Worlders, the children of adversity, and our legacy is the power to transform hardship into strength. As she stepped away, thousands of representatives rose in unison, thunderous applause echoing off the station's alloyed walls. Prismatic lights danced across every surface, reflecting the fusion of technology and the human spirit. Moments after the ceremony, the transit corridor linking Earth's surface to Omega Station glowed with welcoming red lights. Crews gathered for the maiden voyage of the Survival Invitation Linea, new hyperspace route reserved for Death Worlder vessels. One by one, they boarded their ships, ready to carry Earth's legacy of resilience to new star systems and inaugurate an era of cooperation and evolution across the galaxy. Beneath a tapestry of distant suns, the message of Earth's transformation resonated on every orbiting world. Adversity is the forge of strength. Thus, the legacy of the Deathworlders was enshrined in every corner of space, a testament to the truth that any darkness, however absolute, can be overcome by the indomitable will to survive and the courage to shine.